Week 1 NFL uniforms. What did we think? Let's get into it.
See how heat does come out of the top of your head? Look at it, just coming off at Nate's head there. That's where it escapes. If you have heat in...
Alex and Ziggy here for Sandro Says. Ready to get into the uniforms from Week 1 of the NFL. A lot of action this past weekend. Not that many interesting uniforms, but I think we're going to get into some better things as the season goes on. So let's dive right in. First off, we have the Super Bowl champions on Thursday Night Football against the Cowboys. I don't have much to say here, but what I do have to say is an interesting note. The Eagles are one of the few teams that since Nike took over in 2012, that their uniforms have looked better without really changing anything. Something about the green is really crisp. The white and the green and the way they do the styling, everything looks really well. A lot of teams lost their way with the Nike uniforms. The stripes went bad. The numbering changed. A lot of teams went with aggressive, different looks that didn't really work. They still have weird patches on the uniforms where there's there shouldn't be seams, but there are. The Eagles are one of the few teams that have come out of this whole Nike thing so far looking good. So I think that's one of the better stories from Week 1. It's also interesting that a lot of people prefer the Eagles throwback look, which we saw in the 90s up until, I believe, 96 or 97, and that appears once or twice a year. But I think they both have space in the franchise. I don't think they should abandon one for the other. One looks properly futuristic, one looks properly throwback. So we have both those things. The best looking game of the week, potentially, I think, was the Chargers and the Chiefs in Brazil. The Chiefs always are going to have great looking uniforms. They never really stray from their classics. They're one of those few teams that has no real third jerseys or crazy uniform combinations. There was a time back in the mid-2000s where the Chiefs would go mono red, but I can't remember them doing that once under Andy Reid or with Patrick Mahomes. So that's something to think about. They're always looking classic. The Chargers have they're another team that Nike has kept up with. Once they got rid of the weird shoulder patches from the LT era, which I loved. But I loved LT, and I liked the jerseys, but they were a step back from what the Natrone Means era in the late 90s, in my opinion, and the early Tomlinson era. They got a good slew of jerseys, a lot of different colors, and now they have the baby blue. They have a navy blue coming out this year. So the Chargers are looking great. Missed opportunity, in my opinion, from the Jaguars and Panthers game. Panthers look phenomenal. They've basically kept the same uniform since they came into the league in 1995. The Chargers have undergone quite a few changes, and the latest one isn't that great. I think it looks too plain. The numbers are just white against a teal background, so it's not that interesting compared to the numbers they had in the 90s, where they had the interesting kind of a aggressive typeface to them. The font was jungle-esque, I don't know, Jaguar-esque perhaps, but it was something different. So that, and then the Jaguar on the shoulders really made it different. Now it literally just looks like a green or an aqua teal whatever jersey. So another odd note, New Orleans, apparently Halloween came early. They decided to wear their ridiculous gold and black uniforms right off the bat instead of letting their fans see them in their standard outfits. I guess because this is a strange year for New Orleans, they're just kind of punting on the year with their quarterback choices and stuff. So they probably figured, let's get right to it and make this year weird right off the bat. And they did. I hope I don't have to see this look that much more often. It is what it is. Giants-Commanders was a great-looking game. The Giants, since they went to this current look in 2000, it's been top-notch. I love the gray pants. I love the kind of throwback look of it. I do enjoy when they do the white Little Giants, Parcells era uniforms with the word Giants on the helmet, but something about their 2000 to now look, it's really stood the test of time, so I give them a lot of credit. The Commanders, on the other hand, I think that they are going to go back to the Redskins look, even if they don't go back to the Redskins name and mascot and logo and all that. I think they're going to go back to that uniform style. They have it coming as a throwback later this year, and the fan feedback has been through the roof. And the current uniform, it looks bizarre. The red pants don't really work. They look like any number of other teams. So I'd rather them go back to their classic look, because that's how they should look. My hated Patriots, they get a good mark this week because, again, they also ditched the mono look. Now they have gray pants again. Kind of like the Tom Brady era, except with the shoulder patch, or the shoulder stripe, on the jersey. I think it's a good look for them. I hope they don't go back to the mono era. We'll see if they do. Same thing for the Seahawks. Usually they go in the mono dark blue. A lot of teams wear this. It's ridiculous. It's like half the league wears a dark mono uniform. But they actually wore wolf gray pants this time, which is nice because when they go away, they wear the white jersey with the dark pants. So it's actually a really nice mirror image of itself. So I hope that they keep that up. Atrocious game for the week was the Titans and the Broncos. This game was horrible to look at. The Broncos, they avoided the full mono look because they had white socks. But the orange is so bright when you have it on the jersey and the pants. At midday in the Denver sunlight, it was blinding. And then you had the Titans, who were wearing mono white, which looked terrible. So we'll get into the mono whites in a bit. The Rams had one of the more beautiful uniforms of the week. It's back to their classic look. They've gotten rid of all the silver and the dark blue and all that stuff. Classic look. The yellow pants are phenomenal. The helmet is always going to be one of the best, even with the redesign. So Rams got they got a great mark. Houston, on the other hand, looked like crap because how is that Houston? It doesn't look like the Texans. It doesn't look like anything. The jersey and uniform was basically black with no real details to it, unless you really studied it. It seems like one of those jerseys that Nike wanted to fit a lot of, city history into or something like that, a story, but it just looks like crap on the field. So, as far as this week, I'm going to be talking about every week. I'm going to talk about the teams that are wearing the unitard look or the jumpsuit look and how they shouldn't be doing this anymore. I'm just going to call them out at the end of each video, and we're going to see who appears on the video the most by the end of the year. The Bills, I think, are going to be one of our biggest culprits because they love wearing all white or all blue. I'm not sure. I think this weekend I believe they're wearing white and blue, but still, it's just it's a horrible look for the Bills. They have so many better looks, especially with the white helmet. They can go back to the red helmet, wear the white pants. I think things would be a lot better for them if they did the Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas look. So, unitards of the week, or jumpsuits of the week, or you could even call them scuba gear of the week, because these guys look like they're superheroes in costumes, and it's not what you should see on a football field. We had the Bills, the Texans, the Lions, wearing all white. The Lions, that was such a boring uniform for the first game of the year. The Titans, same thing. The Titans and Lions could basically be interchangeable for their helmets. Cardinals, that uniform is so boring. I think if they just had a little more on the shoulder sleeves, it would be okay. But as it is, it's too boring. I don't know where this idea of let's go iced out, let's wear white everything came from in the NFL. It's getting old quick. And the Dolphins have such amazing colors and such amazing uniforms through history. For them to go mono white is just atrocious. It's a wasted opportunity, and that's kind of like the Mike McDaniel era. It's a whole wasted opportunity. So, semi-jumpsuits of the week. These teams wore all white, except with black or some other type of colored socks. We had the Bengals, the Bucks, and the Broncos. So all of them at least had some type of change to their color. But in general, the Bengals' current uniforms are boring as hell. The Bengals of the Corey Dillon era, as much as they lost, they had good uniforms. The Carson Palmer era was a bit strange. This current era, I don't even know what to make of it because it's like they forgot to finish making the jersey. So yeah, and the Bucks, I think theirs is close to being perfect, as far not perfect, passable as a white on white, but it's because the numbers and stuff on the top are so dominant. But in general, I'm just not a fan of it. And the biggest news of the week, I think, embarrassment of the week. Caleb Williams, what the hell were you doing with that undershirt under the jersey? I'm showing some pictures here of just him and then him with the team. It stood out like a sore thumb. I don't know what he was thinking. For a guy that was a number one pick, he was a highly recruited guy, have a lot of eyes on him. It's just it looked odd. You don't see that in the NFL, a guy dressing that off. Typically, that's something you see in like Pee Wee. He probably got fined. I would assume he got fined for it, but it looks sloppy, and I don't think that's how you want your quarterback to look. If you're the Bears, I'm scrutinizing because I'm a uniform guy. But it looked strange. It was a really strange look, and clearly the response from the football world tells me that I'm not alone in my theory, or my feelings. So that's it for this week. I will be back with week 2 already. I see some interesting things on the slate. I know the Packers are wearing some kind of all white get up with a white on white helmet. It almost looks too white. Again, these teams dive into the white just like they 20 years ago dove into the black colors, and it's just really, it's overpowering. Otherwise, I believe there's a couple throwbacks this weekend, so we will check that out, and I'll see you next week. Have a great one.